Help me reach my goal and subscribe. And hit the bell icon.
Chapter 67-61. Charlie, you are the patriarch of the Wade family. The family will obey your orders. Zheng Chuan naturally obeyed Charlie's words. The position of the patriarch has been given up, so there will be no objections. Moreover, he knew very well that the current Wade family had become a small matter for Charlie. Not to mention that as long as Charlie is willing to take out a rejuvenation pill, the money from the sale is estimated to be almost equal to the assets of the entire industry. At this time, Cynthia finished her makeup and eased her emotions, and hurried back. As soon as she sat down, she hurriedly made tea for several people in silence. Zheng Chuan said to her, "Cynthia, Charlie plans to worship the ancestors at Wadehurst Mountain on Qingming Festival, and then give the members of the Wade family a good lesson." Cynthia was a little surprised. Although the ancestor worship happened every year, why did Charlie want to make trouble again? However, she did not dare to have any doubts, but said with a serious face, "It is reasonable for Charlie to crack down on the Wade family. After all, these people have really gone too far in recent years. They don't have the same united will as other families." Charlie said lightly, "This time, I plan to reward and punish clearly, and use both kindness and severity. Those who can put the overall interests of the Wade family above their personal interests, in addition to giving him more resources and benefits. I will also take care of other aspects. If anyone dares to put personal interests above the overall interests of the Wade family, I will kick him out of the Wade family directly." Zheng Chuan nodded. "Of course. I was too kind to them before. I always felt that since the overall trend of the Wade family is not bad, we should not make things too difficult for the people below, so that everyone can be better. I enjoyed myself, but later when the strong enemy came, I realized that the more kind I was to my own people, the more distant they would be from me. Sometimes your family will treat you as a soft persimmon, and the easier you are to talk to them, the more they will get worse." Cynthia suddenly realized something and said ashamedly, "Dad, you are right. Even I always considered my own interests before. When my second brother provoked the Rothschild family, my eldest brother privately joined us to target my second brother and wanted to drive him out of the house. At that time, he told us that only when my second brother left the Wade family and severed all ties with the family could the risk of the Wade family being retaliated by the Rothschild family be eliminated. Otherwise, once the Rothschild family and the Wade family went to war, each of us would suffer huge losses. At that time, I only thought about myself. I always felt that although I was a daughter, I also had a part of the Wade family's assets. If the Wade family's assets shrank, my own value would also be greatly affected. Later, Joseph threatened to kill us at Wadehurst. My eldest brother and I both advocated surrendering. Even if we had to give up half of our property, at least we could keep the remaining half. In fact, at that time, we were thinking about ourselves. We didn't want to be left with nothing in the future. Nor did we want to suffer losses." At this point, Cynthia couldn't control her tears and choked up, saying, "The thing I regret most now is that I didn't stand with my second brother at the beginning. Now my second brother is gone, and I want to say sorry to him. But I don't even have the chance." Cynthia's emotions were a little out of control at this moment. thinking back to the past and his current embarrassing situation. He felt regretful and ashamed, and at the same time, he was very sad. Once her emotions got out of control, she couldn't help crying out loud. Charlie could see that she was not acting. I think my aunt is now sincerely repenting. Being able to realize her mistakes is great progress. Chapter 67-62. Charlie suddenly sighed and saw a piece of pu'er tea cake next to Cynthia's tea tray. So he asked her, "Aunt, where is the tea knife for the pu'er tea?" "Tea knife?" Cynthia was a little stunned, and then hurriedly said, "Charlie, if you want to drink pu'er, I will change the pot for you to brew it." "No need." Charlie shook his head and said calmly, "I just want to use the tea knife." Cynthia found a silver tea knife under the tea table. The tea knife is like the arrowhead of an ancient bow and arrow. It is mainly used to pry open the hard pu'er tea cake. Charlie took the tea knife and took out a rejuvenation pill from his arms. The moment the pill was taken out, Zhongquan was stunned. Cynthia didn't react. She had never eaten the rejuvenation pill or seen it. So she didn't react so sharply. Zhongquan felt his heart beating like a drum. And his heart was already in his throat. At this time, under the gaze of everyone, Charlie used the tea knife to split the pill in half from the middle. The fresh smell of medicine came to his face. Charlie handed half of it to Zhongquan and said, "Grandpa, I am grateful that you can pass on the position of the head of the Wade family to me. I may not have enough time to accompany you in the future. But please rest assured that no matter what happened in the past, as long as you can stand with me now and in the future, I will give you enough respect and care." Zhongquan was trembling with excitement. He never expected that there would be a chance to get the rejuvenation pill again. Although it was only half a pill. But it was far beyond his psychological expectations. He couldn't hide his ecstasy and stretched out his trembling hands. As a result, Charlie handed over half of the pill and couldn't wait to express his attitude. "Charlie, don't worry, I won't make the same mistakes again. Now and in the future, I will definitely stand by your side without hesitation." Charlie nodded gently. Now he and the old man are not just a simple grandfather-grandson relationship, but also a monarch-subject relationship. Although he is her grandfather, he is the head of the Wade family. So he must stand on the same side with her. The Wade family has a large number of people, and they are mixed. After the death of his father, there has been no gene of unity for so many years. So he must establish a positive image in front of them, and let them know what the benefits are of standing on the same side with him. Then, he looked at the remaining half of the rejuvenation pill. And then glanced at Cynthia beside him. Cynthia, with tears streaming down her face. Suddenly, she saw Charlie looking at her, and she was extremely nervous. She didn't know what he planned to do with the half of the rejuvenation pill. Was he going to keep it or give it to her? Although she also knew that the possibility of him giving her the pill might be very small. The old man listened to him, but he only got half a pill. He had been against him before. And after thinking it through, there was no chance to show loyalty. Could he also give her half a pill? At this time, Charlie looked at her and said calmly, "Aunt, I will keep this half of the rejuvenation pill for the Wade family. Whoever can truly put the interests of the Wade family above their own interests, I will give this half of the rejuvenation pill to them. Chapter 67-63. When Cynthia heard this, she was not disappointed, but was keenly aware that this was an opportunity given to her by Charlie. At present, the Wade family generally disappointed him. Among them, the least disappointed was naturally the old man. And secondly, it might be herself. Although she had offended his mother-in-law, she was more or less stronger than her elder brother and the others. Moreover, now, apart from the old man, she was the only one who knew that there was half a rejuvenation pill as a reward, which meant that she had already won at the starting line. As long as she worked hard to perform well in the future, she would definitely be able to get a better impression from Charlie. So, she couldn't hide her excitement and said, "Charlie, don't worry, I will always put the interests of the Wade family first in the future." Charlie nodded, handed the half rejuvenation pill to Zhongxuan, and said, "Grandpa, you can keep this half of the pill for me." Zhongxuan was a little confused. "Keeping it for me? Aren't you afraid that I can't control myself and eat this half? This is the rejuvenation pill. It may be the thing that he wants most in his life, or even the only thing that he wants. And he has never eaten a whole rejuvenation pill." Charlie now divides a rejuvenation pill into two. He gives half to himself and the other half too for safekeeping. It is really a test of his willpower. So, he quickly said, "Charlie, this pill is priceless. I am an old man. If I don't protect it well, it will be lost. Or it will be stolen by someone. It will be a huge loss, and it will be difficult to explain to you. So I think you should keep it yourself. What do you think?" Charlie smiled and said, "It's okay, Grandpa. Only the few of us present know about this matter. As long as we don't tell others, no one will know." In fact, the reason why Charlie asked the old man to keep this half of the rejuvenation pill is a grey humor. It also tests and tempers the old man's will. The old man also saw that Charlie had made up his mind. So he had no choice but to nod and say, "Then I will keep it well." Charlie smiled and said, "Grandpa, why don't you eat your half pill now? So as to avoid more trouble at night." Zhongxuan definitely wanted to eat it, but he was more or less embarrassed in front of the Jiu family. However, since Charlie said so, he didn't have to be reserved. After all, this thing is priceless and of great significance to him. As long as he eats it, there will be an immediate effect. After all, people are old, and being a few years younger on the basis of the current situation will make a world of difference. So, he picked up half of the pill, carefully put it in his mouth. He then closed his eyes to feel the pure medicinal power. The Jiu family couple already had the experience of taking the whole rejuvenation pill. So they didn't feel surprised when they saw the old man take half of it, and immediately became much younger. After all, this degree of shock is still much worse than what just happened to him. However, Cynthia, who was standing by, saw with her own eyes that her father seemed to have become 6 or 7 years younger in an instant. This feeling really shocked her. At this moment, she finally understood why the old man would obey Charlie's orders, and even hand over the control of the entire Wade family. For an elderly person, the temptation was too great. And she looked at the half pill of rejuvenation pill on the tea table. And the desire and urgency in her heart reached its peak at this moment. Chapter 67-64. At the subsequent family dinner, Cynthia was 100 times more attentive than before. She seemed to define herself as a servant of the Wade family, not the eldest daughter of the Wade family. This sudden yin energy even made the Jiu family couple feel a little overwhelmed, and they felt that they could not bear it. However, Cynthia, who has always been proud, did not think that doing so was wronging herself. On the contrary, she was 100% willing in her heart. After dinner, Charlie received a call from Tawana. She said to him on the phone, "Mr. Wade, we have to do a scene tonight. Do you and Miss Gu have time to come over for a rehearsal? After all, the first concert will start soon. And your dancers have not been decided yet." Charlie felt inexplicably overwhelmed when he thought about having to dance with two women. How could a decent person do such a thing? But he also knew that a gentleman's word was as good as a horse. He had promised it, and he would definitely not break his promise. Moreover, this kind of thing should either not be done, or if you do it, do your best. Sarah believes in herself so much, and she must not be disappointed. So he said to Tawana, "I'll talk to Sarah and see what her schedule is." "Okay, Mr. Wade, I'll wait for your news." Charlie hung up the phone and asked Sarah, "Sarah, Tawana wants us to go over and prepare for the scene. Do you think it's necessary to go over tonight?" "Of course," Sarah said excitedly. "I have no problem singing. And I have no problem singing her songs. The main thing is the dance for the song Assassin. We have to hurry up and decide it." After that, she looked at the time and said, "Let's go now. Let Mom and Dad stay here and chat with Grandpa for a while." Charlie agreed decisively and said to everyone, "I will accompany Sarah to the National Sports Center to rehearse the concert repertoire with Tawana. You don't have to worry, just chat till we get back." Philip smiled and said, "Okay, you young people can go and do your own things. And we middle-aged and elderly people can chat and reminisce here." Joan Chuan also said, "Yes, Charlie. You can accompany Sarah to do business, don't worry about us." Charlie took Sarah and said goodbye to everyone, and drove the inconspicuous business car to the National Sports Center. Along the way, Sarah used Bluetooth to connect to the car audio and played her song Assassin on repeat. Charlie listened to it all the way and basically memorized the melody and lyrics of the song. At this time, all the stage, lighting, and sound equipment at the National Sports Center have been set up. Tavanna's accompaniment band has begun tuning, and the lighting and sound engineers are also doing the final fine-tuning. Seeing Charlie and Sarah coming, Tavanna herself walked down the stage to greet them, and said to Sarah very eagerly, "I have asked the sound engineer to download the music file of your song Assassin, and the original MV. We will go over this song later. What I mainly want to know is, how should I choreograph for Mr. Wade?" Sarah smiled and said, "Originally, this song has a female protagonist and a male protagonist. So when we performed it before, I didn't participate in the dance. It was performed by a male dancer and a female dancer in ancient costumes." She looked towards Charlie and continued with a smile. "But this time I finally managed to convince Charlie to dance to this song. I can't give the opportunity of the female dancer to anyone else." As she spoke, she suddenly thought of Tawana and quickly changed her words. No, it stands to reason that both of us should play the leading female role. because we each sing a section of the song. So when I sing, he will dance with me. And when it's your turn to sing, he will dance with you. Do you think this allocation is reasonable? Tawana smiled happily and said, "It's fair and just, very reasonable." Chapter 67-65. Charlie didn't expect the two girls to distribute him fairly directly. At this time, he was still confused about how to cooperate with the dancers. However, the stage was soon prepared for the three of them. Tawana asked the stage's feedback speakers to play Sa's assassin music at a very low volume. And the three of them were ready to try the positioning and stage design. The reason why only the feedback speakers were used and the volume was controlled very low was because Tawana's fans were too enthusiastic. Since the 2 days when the stage was built, the outside has been surrounded by fans. Security guards have set up a cordon to prevent them from approaching the performance venue within 100 meters. If they heard Sa's songs playing on the scene at this time, they would probably guess immediately that Sa would be a guest at this concert. This would be a leak. And secondly, it would also expose Sa's return to the capital in advance. Everyone felt that before the performance began, Sa's guest status should not be disclosed to the public. At that time, let her appear on the stage directly to give the fans on the scene a surprise. Although Sa is not as famous as Tawana, and her fans are not as diverse as Tawana's, she has a large Chinese base after all. And a considerable number of her Chinese fans are also fans of Sa. In addition, this performance is in Eastcliff. And Sa, as a native Eastcliff girl, her sudden appearance will definitely make fans very excited. Charlie gritted his teeth and was pulled onto the stage by the two girls. There were no assassins' performance costumes on the scene. So Tawana asked for a hiking pole from the staff and lent it to Charlie to use as a long sword. Charlie repeatedly confirmed with Sa, "You are sure I will have a mask on the day of the performance, right? I won't go on stage without a mask." Sa smiled and said, "Don't worry. Anyone may lie to you, but I will never lie to you." Charlie nodded, feeling a little relieved. Sa then said, "This song has 3 parts. The second and third parts are the complete verse and chorus. So Tawana and I will each sing a section. I want to put this song at the end of the entire guest performance, so that I will sing the first section, followed by Tawana on stage to sing the second section. And then we will sing the third section together. The third section is a separate chorus, followed by the ending." Charlie had listened to this song all the way when he came, and he was already very familiar with it. After listening to Sa's explanation of the singing arrangements, he asked curiously, "Then how should I dance with you?" Sa smiled and said, "It's very simple. When I sing first, you will dance with me. When Tawana comes on stage to sing the second section, you will dance with her. Finally, Tawana and I will sing the third section together. And you just sing with the two of us." Then, Sa gave a detailed introduction. "The main part of the song is the emotional expression between you and us, showing how deep your feelings were before you left us. In the chorus, you perform martial arts and swordsmanship alone in front of the stage. And we sing in the back, mainly highlighting your heroism. In the last part, you come back to find us. And it's a happy ending."